longtime ESPN anchor Sage Steele. She is taking the network and its parent company, Disney, to court, claiming that ESPN violated her free speech rights and breached her contract. So what we know is this, that last September, Steele voiced frustrations with employers' COVID-19 vaccine policy. And she briefly mentioned President Barack Obama in some very controversial, borderline low-key racist comments while discussing her racial identity as a guest on Jay Cutler's podcast. Here's the clip.
When you fill out your census, I'm like, well, I don't know when the last time I filled out my census was, but if they make you choose a race, she's like, what are you gonna put? I go, well, both. She's like, well, you can't. She goes, well, what if Barack Obama chose black and he's biracial? I'm like, well, congratulations to the president. That's his thing. I go, I think that's fascinating considering his black dad was nowhere to be found, but his white mom and grandma raised him. But hey, you do you. I'm gonna do me. I think I respect everyone's decision. I really do. But to mandate it is sick and it's scary to me in many ways. But I have a job that I love, and frankly, a job that I need. But again, I love it. I just, I'm not surprised it got to this point, especially with Disney. I mean, a global company like.
Yeah, apparently Steele wasn't very happy that there was a COVID-19 policy at ESPN. And according to her court filing, Steele tested positive for COVID-19 just a few days after the podcast was aired. And she was benched from the air on October 4th. She was also told that she would have to issue a public apology. Now, Steele's lawyer, Brian Friedman, said this in a statement. ESPN violated her free speech rights, retaliated against her, reprimanded her, scapegoated her, allowed the media and her peers to excoriate her, and forced her to apologize simply because her personal opinions did not align with Disney's corporate philosophy of the moment. Sage is standing up to corporate America to ensure employees don't get their rights trampled on or their opinions silenced. Now, Steele reportedly has 2 years remaining on her contract, which she claims was breached. Now, per NPR, she seeks unspecified damages for allegedly violating her First Amendment right and Connecticut law, which prohibits employers from disciplining any employee for exercising freedom of speech. Her lawyer also accused ESPN of breaching Steele's contract and intentionally inflicting emotional distress on the anchor. Now, in response to the court filing, ESPN said this: Sage remains a valued contributor on some of ESPN's highest profile content, including the recent Masters telecast and anchoring our noon Sports Center. As a point of fact, she was never suspended. Now, I would definitely disclose that I used to work for ESPN and I did become the first on-air personality to sue them for workplace sexual harassment and retaliation. And I've seen all sorts of things from I was not in any way close with Sage, and I don't even remember if I met her or not. But what I can definitely tell you is that it's a questionable case, in part because, as you may be thinking, ESPN isn't a government entity, it's a private employer, so why are we talking about free speech? Now, this is where things get really interesting. So Steele is suing in Connecticut. That's where ESPN is stationed for their home base. And the law in Connecticut extends First Amendment protections to private employers. It's very complicated in terms of to the extent, but the thing is, this could make legal matters a little bit tricky in terms of Disney being able to defeat this case expeditiously. So one thing is that Sage is gonna have to prove several things. She's gonna have to prove that her speech is protected, that she suffered adverse job action, so essentially they came down on her in some way because they were retaliating against her because of her speech, and that her speech didn't materially interfere with her job performance. And those are a lot of legal terms, but that's kind of what she's facing here in terms of what she's gonna have to prove. So I don't necessarily know how she's gonna be able to show that her critique and comments as it concerns COVID-19 in particular was something that is protected, and also that they punished her as a result of it, and that her speech did not interfere with her job performance. Kyla, what do you think?
Honestly, the only thing I have to say about Steele is like, you say stupid things, you win stupid prizes. Like, come on, like If the company doesn't align with what you believe or what you say, then just leave. That's what conservatives say all the time. If you don't agree with it, then go, right? And I wonder if she can also reconcile the fact that, the same company, Disney, is also having their tax status, ripped away because they don't agree with the conservative, governor. And so it's just to me, it's all conservative contradictions. She's playing the victim. And again, the First Amendment doesn't protect you against the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, and one thing I will definitely say is that it's reported that Steele has about 2 years left on her deal. Yet she didn't like this whole COVID-19 policy. Also, with this world getting more divergent in terms of the right and the left in politics, it's been very well known that Steele is very much aligned on the right. And so with her sentiments and everything she has said and vocalized, it seems that ESPN, despite the fact that it is very much a run by white men and is up there in Connecticut, that it still may not be a good place for her to truly be able to voice her opinions. And so with her 2 years left on the contract, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a way for her to set up a platform to get out, to go to a more conservative place like Fox. And I say that in part because the attorneys that she hired are the attorneys that helped individuals like Megyn Kelly and other on-air personalities be able to break free of their contracts and be able to set up a platform where they're saying, I'm doing what's right for the conservative side. And we've seen several people at ESPN who are higher profile names come out and speak out against this whole COVID-19 requirements that the employer has, like Mel Kiper. He didn't show up, or he wasn't allowed to be on the NFL draft broadcast yesterday, in part because, well, actually in whole part because he wasn't vaccinated. The thing is, at the end of the day, employers have rules. They have rules that they believe to be the best for their employees, and ESPN enforced its rule. And so, I don't know, part of me is like shoulder shrugs. If you don't want to follow those rules, then find a different employer. It ain't that hard. But this actually seems like a big setup for getting out of her contract and starting something at Fox News or a conservative outlet, and joining that little Fox and Friends roundtable, I'm sure. But that's just my suspicion. I don't necessarily think that she's gonna win this case, but again, I don't think that those are her motivations. So we're gonna have to see where this goes.